We got strength, it's in our community. We got power, that's unity. Standing up on your shoulders, lifting our voices higher.
We as a community have questions right now. We're questioning justice, fear, how bias is really fueling oppression and complacency.
When we have questions, we know our community does too. And when we create, we only write songs we know our community needs. Songs that push us culturally to progress, to challenge, and to evolve. In this process this year, we delved into this with our young stars, and they took the questions and they dove into their process. We're excited to share how we created the song Strength in Numbers with the young stars at Alphabet Rockers.
Hey, so just knowing the fact that we interviewed our families about these questions about power, being how powerful we've ever felt or how powerless we've ever felt, like, what kind of value did you get out of hearing the responses from all of these family members?
I feel like asking our family members and our community is great because we're literally talking about strength in numbers. I feel like strength in numbers means like all of us together makes one power. And to know like one power for all of us needs to know what feels strong for all of us and what feels when you feel vulnerable and power with all of us too.
I mean, everybody can have their own definition of power, and everybody does have power. It's just how they use it. And I feel like asking them those questions, one of them was, how do you feel it when you're powerless? And hearing those answers, I mean, they're not very fun answers, but anybody could feel powerless in any different way.
I feel like it's so important that we know about our community and what they need. Our community needs us to do that, and together we need to do that.
Yeah, that's my jam too, because all our work is for all people. I think getting to know and like make connections with the people that we're doing this for is really important. Even if they're not so well known, they're a part of the community because everybody's opinion matters. Otherwise, then it's just biased. Why would we do this if it wasn't for our community? It's like to impact other people, to make a change for other people, having equity for our community.
And what about, like, before we wrote Strength in Numbers, what are some of the other things we did in Oakland, on Zoom? Like, what are other things you kind of brought with you to write the song?
Yeah, definitely going around Oakland and noticing a lot of that artwork too. And it's crazy how people could come together and do all that. And that was only a very small part of Oakland.
It was really powerful, and even if any of us didn't base a line off of those murals that we saw, I feel like it definitely inspired us to continue with our songwriting.
Nice. So when we all sat down on Zoom to write Strength in Numbers, we all wrote it at the same time.
Yeah.
So how did you find your voice in the, like, everybody's writing? Did anyone get writer's block, or like, how did that magic come to you? Because nobody edited what you wrote on that day, right?
Yeah.
It's exactly what you
I'm
wrote.
confident at my age. People say you're not your past, you are in a way. Your ancestors within you, there's someone you should thank. The power when they prayed, part of us in many ways. They had so many goals, we'll get there one day. I was gonna say that one part in the song that I wrote, we had like 5 minutes left of a vocal thing. We had just started coming back in person, and I was like, I want to write something about ancestors. And literally in the last 5 minutes, I wrote this like little couple bar thing about ancestors, and now it's part of a song. And like,
Oh, I remember. That's when we all got together before we even built the studio.
right.
And we just had some outdoor time. Everybody had their journals. And
Yeah.
you wrote that little piece
And I wrote
there.
that little
That's
piece. We
dope.
had been writing together the entire time, and then I just wrote really small other things, and then now it's like part of the song, and I'm happy about it, and I think it was really cool.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Mary?
Also, I was just gonna say that I feel like that leads back to how we all had something to say.
How can we feel powerful right now? I actually remember we were walking right here, and I was thinking, is there any way for us to feel powerful in this system?
This whole conversation is really orbiting that notion of the more you start to understand your community, and the more that y'all start seeing the same things or understanding each other in a certain way, the more it gets bigger, and the more people have your back, and the more people understand why you do what you do, and you understand why they do what they do. It actually, there's strength in that, and that's actually another type of power. This is dope, because what's really special about this moment is that there are community leaders who already know that you're on board with this. It's why they're talking to you. Or you're not even thinking about that. You're thinking about the lessons that you're getting from the next generation and all this stuff. You know what I mean? It's the reason why they're speaking to you. And so I really appreciate the humility.
When we got to talk with Angela Davis, which was very special, and I'm very grateful for it, it reminded me that all these people that we look up to, not that they're not amazing, because they are, but they're all people, and we all have a lot of the same mindset.
I feel like it's a whole nother thing to ask our community leaders. We're asking people who have been doing this work for years and have been trying to get us to get it for a long time, and it's passing on a torch. It's we're asking them, how can we learn from you? What have you done that has worked and that we can expand and add on to?
So what do you think Strength in Numbers is going to do for the community?
I think it's going to be an anthem. It's something that our community already knows, just to put it into motion.
I want any listener to feel like they are a part of that community and be open to receive and hopefully do something great with it.
So if our whole community could get together to move, and we want people to be guided in, I think when people listen to this, I want them to feel inspired by this.
I think it means to me keeping the conversation going, having that conversation with their community, whether that means my bestie over here, whether that means my mom, whether that means Angela Davis. It's keeping the conversation going and knowing that it needs to keep going.
I feel powerful when people listen. Don't ignore me, cause you won't know what you're missing. And if you plug your ears, I'll write my truth down. Do whatever I can, so long as the truth's found.
For us, the process of writing Strength in Numbers helped us sense our collective power. And what's it going to do for the listeners out there? That's for you to decide, because everything is actually different if you choose to open up.
Absolutely. And I've asked the question before, and I probably will ask it again. Who's coming? Who's ready for this?
We got strength, it's in our community. We got power, that's unity. Standing up on your shoulders, lifting our voices higher. We got strength, it's in our community. We got power, that's unity. Standing up on your shoulders, lifting our voices higher.
I'm powerful when I'm with my community. People that accept my thoughts and ideas and see the truth about who I am. They love on my melanin.